The author I chose to explore for my author-illustrator project is Judith Caseley. The thing I love about this author is that she writes and illustrates stories about the feelings that she experienced as a child and also gets inspiration for her writing from her children. As she watched her own children grow and change, they also inspired her writing as well. Most of her books are based on real-life situations that either happened to her or her children, and she fictionalizes them. Judith Caseley went to Syracuse University and majored in English, but then switched to art her sophomore year. 10 years later, she was an author and illustrator of children's books. When exploring Judith Caseley's website, I came across an author interview. Judith Caseley was recently interviewed, and the interview was posted on her website. When Judith was asked why she wanted to become a writer and illustrator, she responds that when she was growing up, she loved to draw, color, and paint. She also liked to write stories about fairies and princesses to her cousin Maria, who lived in California. When she was away at college in England, she wrote hundreds of letters back home to her parents, who lived in the U.S. She was very homesick, and her father wrote many letters back. But when her daughter Jenna was born, he started writing to her as well. Dear Annie was written in celebration of those letters. When Judith finally moved back home to the United States, her father said he would miss the letters she would write him because she was such a talented writer. She decided to start writing stories in response to his remarks. She had never taken a creative writing course, nor had she ever studied illustration. But in college, Matisse's decorative pictures were her favorite, and eventually inspired her to create greeting cards, which eventually led her to doing children's literature illustrations. When asked where she gets all of her ideas from, Judith replies, "I write stories about my children, about my own family background, and about my friends. Sometimes I take a nugget of truth and spin it into fiction. I listen to the world and steal stories from it too." In Dorothy's Darkest Days, the chapter about the dog mix-up happened in real life to a nice librarian I met in Virginia, who gave her permission to write the story. Field Day Friday, another one of her books, is about her son's 50-yard dash. His shoe fell off and he came in dead last. And the worst part of it all, the children laughed. He gave her permission to write it, but she fictionalized a lot of it. Mickey's Class Play dealt with her son's kindergarten play in which he played a duck. Mama Coming and Going was written about her actual mishaps as a mother. She accidentally locked her, then infant, daughter Jenna in the car, brought her to a birthday party on the wrong day, and thanked Aunt Mary for a gift that she never even sent. In Style with Grandma Antoinette, now titled Beauty Day, was written about the hair salon where she worked 2 days a week as a receptionist. Judith was also asked if her children mind when she writes stories about them. She says, yeah, they do, and they don't. She wants to be able to celebrate their lives. But as her daughter Jenna gets older, she tries to be more careful. In Slumber Party, she had originally intended to use Jenna's name, but when she made the main character cry, Jenna asked for her mom to change it. She casted Jenna as Zoe, which was a name she and her husband discarded when they were choosing baby names. In the book Witch Mama, she wrote that Jenna was born on Halloween Day, but she really wasn't. She just liked the idea of the father calling the mother Witch Mama. The book Sisters was written when a little girl showed Judith a photograph of her adopted baby sister coming over from China, posted on the refrigerator door. The book Bully was written about her nephew and son and various bullying that was done to them. A hat tossed across a bus, a favorite pencil snapped in half. The cookies, however, were stolen from her daughter Jenna by a bully in the lunchroom. Both of Judith's parents died in the year 2000, and she was afraid from then on her writing would be filled with too much sadness. Her book, Praying to Al, was written while her father was dying of Alzheimer's disease. It is a book she says is very close to her heart. It deals with loss, death, and rebirth. However, in that same year, On the Town, a community adventure, was created, and painting the pictures for it was both a release and a great pleasure for her. Judith Caseley just finished publishing her 38th book. When asked if she had any advice on writing, she says, "My father used to say that you couldn't call yourself a writer unless you write. I try to write every day to keep away the fear. I become afraid that I cannot write. I am never afraid of illustrating, but many times my pictures do not live up to my expectations. That's the reason I write and illustrate another book. Perhaps the next one will be better. I write about what I know, or I write about things I feel strongly about or care about." I hope you thoroughly enjoyed watching this video about Judith Caseley and her inspirations for some of her works. She's a fabulous author, and I would highly recommend these books to any young reader.